You're watching The Kate Fox Show. I'm Kate Fox, and today I am here with Paul Terror and Dave Black. And these gentlemen are the hosts of a relatively new show called
Double Trouble Radio.
Yeah, we're out. This is going to be our 22nd show coming up this Tuesday.
Is it that many already?
Yeah, it's every Tuesday. We had a couple of non-Tuesdays for different reasons, but yeah, this will be 22 coming up.
Wow.
Dave got crabs.
Yeah, it set us back a little bit.
It happens.
So,
And Paul got him for Christmas.
I did.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Well, that's the gift that keeps on giving.
You know how hard they are to wrap? You can't believe how hard they are to wrap.
Ho, ho, ho.
Little things keep running around.
I knew I was in trouble.
Double trouble.
Double trouble. So now, before we get into how the two of you came to partner on this, I wanted to talk about, first of all, Paul, I didn't even bother looking at everything you've done because every time you post something else, you blow my mind. Because there's so much more that you have done and do that it's so, tell them your background.
Okay. I started as a poor black child. No, I've been doing music for about 40 years now. Been around the world, met a lot of famous people, met a lot of not famous people, and they're all good. I performed with Trash Can Baby, you may recognize, in the 90s. Sister Blind, and most recently Terra Garden, which we just released a new CD called Keep It Real. I've had the pleasure of being on stage with Richie Blackmore and Zakk Wylde, Ron Wood from the Rolling Stones, guys in Twisted Sister, Adrenaline Mob. So many musicians I performed with went on to play with Alice Cooper, Ronnie James Dio, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Mountain, Living Color, you name it. I've been involved in the music industry now for about 40 years. I've seen them come and I've seen them go. And I'm still here doing what I love. And when it got to the point that New York radio was just so bad, and I refused to pay for radio. I think that's a sin, having to pay for music that should be free. I decided to do a radio show. I started it a couple of years ago, and it was called Terror Time. And I was playing basically what you didn't hear on the radio, but you should. And mostly unsigned bands, because there's so much great music out there, but there's no way of hearing it. And the way the music industry is now, people are making CDs out of their basement. There are no big labels. Nobody's getting signed for $60 million or like they used to. Everything has changed in the music scene, but there's still so much great music and no way to get it out except for Spotify or any of these other websites. So that's how I started doing this. And then I quit for a little while because I was doing it by myself. And then me and Dave stumbled into each other, and that's how we created Double Trouble Radio.
Which we're going to talk about later.
Yes, we are, apparently. But for me, I've been doing music my whole life. I have a lot of funny stories of people I've met and people that have vomited on me and people that have OD'd in my loft. Some real funny stories with Sam Kinison and Joey Ramone. Actually, all the Ramones, I got some real funny stories. Leslie West, Joe Walsh, Ron Wood, Richie, but I mean, I guess it was the right place at the right time. but man,
you got in the mix. You were in the
man,
mix.
I never made it big, but Christ, you could do a couple of behind the music episodes with some of the things I've witnessed and encountered in my life.
As I'm listening to you talk, all I'm thinking is you have to write a book because
Yeah.
I mean, just from what you've said, you and that's without real stories.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done a lot, and well, you're still doing a lot also musically.
Doing a lot musically. I'm currently doing 5 bands.
5.
5. Terra Garden, my original, which is my main thing. I'm into Deep Purple, so I do a Deep Purple tribute called Speed King. My roots and true love is punk rock. I have a punk rock band called Suburban Decay.
Oh, that's right.
We do early punk like Iggy Pop and Talking Heads and The Clash and Dead Kennedys and stuff like that. Then to balance it off, I do a wedding band called Weakest Link, where I sing absolutely nauseating music and collect your money. Then I do a 2-man acoustic with my buddy Dave from the Electric Dudes. We're called the Toxic Twins. This will be our 21st year
Really?
that me and Dave have been performing together. And we do some out of the loop acoustic covers songs. And I also just created a new project called Bad News, which is me and my partner Jess, who plays accordion, and we do polka versions of heavy metal and punk rock.
That shut Kate right up.
Yes, it sure did.
And I'm going to ask this question, probably knowing the answer. So, who came up with that?
It was a good friend of mine named Jesus, and he dropped a beer bottle on my head one day, and when I was cleaning all the glass out of my head, the idea came to me. So thank you, Jesus.
Oh my goodness! So you let
I
Jesus
think
take the wheel.
I think Ed Shin was there too. I think he helped Jesus push the bottle. But other than that, yeah, the ideas are always flowing. The problem is, during this pandemic, no one can perform live. I refuse to rip off my friends and ask or perform any of these dinner places because it's a sin for my friends to be charged $14 a beer. It's a sin for my friends to be told they can't get up and dance or walk across the room and say hi to their friends. Basically, I'll wait till everybody gets the shot, things get somewhere back to normal, and we could start rocking the way we should, because I'm not one for rules where, okay, you could perform, but your friends got to do this. I'm not that desperate for attention. I have a day job where I have money. I'm not desperate for the money, and I don't want to screw my friends. So I'll wait for the pandemic to be over, and once it is, you'll see a lot of great music back out there.
Let me tell you though, I'm trying to think of when it was, because it was warm weather, but you did do something with your friends.
Actually, we got so fed up with everything going on with the pandemic and how the clubs are reacting or not allowed to be opened. We took money out of our pockets and we got a permit for the park, and we had a party in the park.
And it was
And
great.
everybody was social distancing in the park. It's nice, big
Yeah, it was
open
outdoors,
area.
beautiful day.
It was outdoors.
A lot
yeah,
of room.
Mhm.
It
it was
was,
great.
and it was your album release party.
It was our CD release
CD.
party. Yep.
I still call them records and albums.
Yeah, it's
so
okay.
I wish they
It's all
were.
right.
I
Yeah.
wish they
Yeah.
were, because that's when the good music
Just the
was
vinyl
really
days.
created.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it was a great day though,
Absolutely.
and you guys put on a great show.
And we'll probably be doing it again come springtime, even if the clubs are open. I think it was a good experience to get everyone together,
It was a lot
because
of fun.
yeah, once everything goes back, you're still gonna have hesitant people.
Yes.
You know, this pandemic, you have 3 kinds of people: people that are like obsessed, overcautious, people that are cautious, and people that don't care. So you got to be in the middle. You can't be overcautious and live your life in fear. You can't be an idiot and pretend this virus doesn't exist either.
Right.
So you got to be in the middle. You got to be cautious. At least that's my take on this. Everybody has their own opinion, and that one's mine. I don't want to be an idiot and infect myself or anyone else, but I don't want to be a pansy and sit home, bitch, cry, and moan and not go out the door.
Yeah, so we're constantly straddling that line and trying to figure out where
Exactly.
we fit with everything that's going on.
And we have the vaccine now, so hopefully that's going to help things out. I mean, we could sit and debate about this shit for hours and days. It basically comes down to each their own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you notice I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really because I don't want to discuss it with anyone. You know, my personal beliefs, because now it's just like religion and politics.
Yep.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
and that's really what it comes down to.
My biggest
agree.
problem is every time I go somewhere, they want to take my temperature, but rectally. You know, I don't know
I knew
what's
I
up
was in
with that.
trouble
You
when
just
I
can't
signed
smile
up
that
for
much.
this.
It hurts your face.
I don't know what's up.
You know, all that smiling.
It's like that
face.
Deliverance movie. It's like,
Okay.
squeal like a pig, boss, squeal like a pig. And I just can't do that.
Speaking of can't do that, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Can't touch this.
Learn how to drive, learn how to drive. Get off the road, just pull to the side. Learn how to drive, learn how to drive. Get off the road, just pull to the side. Learn how to drive, learn how to drive. Get off the road, just pull to the side. Learn how to drive, learn how to drive. Get off the road, just pull to the side. Learn how to drive. Get out of the way! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Learn how to drive! Get out of the way! Oh no! Oh no! Wow! Learn how to drive!
And we're back. And now we just heard a bit, or a lot, from Mr. Terror about what he's brought to the table thus far. And now, Dave, tell us how you came to be where you are.
Dave's not here.
First of all, thank you very much for coming down and interviewing us. I really do appreciate it. I've been watching your show for quite a while. So I guess my resurgence or
Resurgence.
resurgence, getting myself back into the music scene happened many years after my initial interest in music. I grew up with a bunch of friends in Rosedale, a band called Inner Vision. They were all my best buddies.
Oh my God, I remember that
Who
band.
I hung out with when I was like
Wow.
18, 19 years old. They made the mistake of inviting me to one of their rehearsals, and I pretty much was like a fixture on the wall, just like the egg crates that insulated the basement. And then, you know, life went on, and I got married and owned a business and had babies and all that stuff. And then I guess it was probably due to Facebook, I started seeing that those guys were in different bands and going on their merry ways and performing in different places. So, you know, at that point, my kids were older, my business was settled, and I was able to go out. So I started to go out to various clubs and whatnot. And I actually went to a couple of really big shows, one of which was at the Paramount, which was at Ace Frehley show. And previous to the show, I had friended somebody on Facebook. His name is Rob Noxious, and he had wanted me to come see
Rob
his show
Noxious.
called Kill Code. I wanted to come see his band. So I said, "Yeah, man, where's your band play? I would love to go see you." He goes, "Well, we're opening for Ace Frehley at the Paramount." I said,
Nice.
"Seriously? Wow, I got a ticket to that." So I had never seen them before. I didn't know what they were all about. I went to the show. I got there early. I was at the center bar, and they started playing, and I immediately said, wow, these fucking guys are good. I went right to the front of the stage. I caught their whole set. And what was really cool, and that I still really love, is after the set, they all went back to their merch booth. And you could walk up to them and you could say, hey, I really dug your set. You guys sound really good. And you could actually talk to them and you know, converse and interact with the musicians. And I thought that was amazing. So I just kept on going to shows after that. I met the boys from Grim Jack, same kind of experience. And then I started getting involved with them on the internet. I started to work a little bit with Kill Code on their friends page. I started to administrate that page. I started a page for Grim Jack as well. And then I just got more and more into the music. So I started following different bands, and I started to, you know, follow Paul's bands, all his different types of bands, the cover stuff, the Speed King, and then I saw Terror Garden. And I had a really good time. Paul and I had a conversation. Same kind of thing, you know, before the show we met up. We spoke a little bit. I caught the whole set. We talked afterwards.
He sexually harassed me.
A few times, but you know, we have a different tape on that. But
But that's what cemented
that'll
the
be in his book.
relationship.
That'll definitely be in his book.
That'll definitely be chapter 27.
So then, just to, you know, to go along and speed things up, I had been going to a ton of shows at Revolution. I got really friendly with Pauline, and then I saw that this gentleman had an issue with his health.
My intestine burst on stage while I was performing.
Yeah. So I had heard
Good
about
times.
it, and we really didn't know each other all that well. We only met probably maybe a handful of times previous to that. But I saw that his daughter Jennifer had posted that she was having a benefit for him, and she was having a little bit of a hard time arranging the bands and figuring out how she'd get musicians to play. And me being that I knew most of the bands that, you know, knew Paul and we're in the same kind of music scene that we're all here in Long Island, I said, you know, I'd be happy to help you. So little by little, I contacted a lot of different bands. I put a nice set together. I think it was 5 bands that night.
Yeah.
That was a good show.
That was
a
a-
good
that was
show.
a good show.
And you know, we really had a good time. I had a great time doing it. There was a lot of coordination involved. That's how I got my feet wet in promotion. And after the show, Pauline came up to me and said, if you'd like to keep on promoting music for my venue, I'd love to have you do it. And I started doing it.
And
So-
that was it.
And that was it. So we put a couple of really good shows together. The momentum was really going strong. I had every Friday night and every Sunday that I wanted. This was back in, I guess, February, right?
Yeah.
About February.
Yeah.
And then actually the very last show that I went to was your benefit.
Yeah, you were there.
Right? Rebel 9 played that night.
Rebel 9, Black Dawn, Demon Scar.
Yeah.
And we only had what, about 30 people
Yeah.
because of everybody was shutting down.
It was starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
When it started
I have to
creeping in.
say, and I have to give thanks to just luck of the draw. I happen to have a friend of mine that sent me some music, and there was this band called Adam and the Metal Hawks, and I saw the video where they had played the Stereo Garden, and I was really impressed. So I got a chance to put them on the stage of Revolution a couple of times, and I'd have to say, out of all the bands that I was able to interact with and be friendly with and help out, I think they got the most benefit out of it. They're young guys. They really, really are very exciting to watch. And if it wasn't for this pandemic, they'd be touring Europe right now. So that was a real good kick for me to get my promotion career going. So, and then unfortunately,
It
the
came to an
pandemic
end.
hit,
Yeah.
and it came to an end. So we had after the show, Paul and I were speaking, and he offered me this position here to work on the radio thing with him. I never had any experience doing this whatsoever, and I said to him point blank, I don't know if I could even do this. I had no idea what it's all about. And then little by little, we started talking about it. We made plans to do it. The pandemic hit. We kind of like sidelined it for a while, put it off to the shelf. And unfortunately, the same thing would happen with Revolution. They just couldn't sustain. Actually, Pauline was here on our show.
Yeah, she
She
broke the
announced-
news on our show.
Absolutely. I remember that.
But in the interim, because of that show, and actually because of exactly what happened here in that studio, I got offered a whole bunch of different opportunities. One of which obviously is this show, which is now rolling out really well and taking off quite a bit for Paul and I. And I have to thank Mr. Terra for that tremendously. I'm also working with a band out of Connecticut. I'm actually planning a tour for them in 2021. So that's going to be coming up. And I just completed a video pilot for cable TV. I collaborated with a company called Rain Music, and that'll be coming out on January 16th, which is Saturday night. It's going to be on channel 115
That's great.
on Optimum. And Paul has 2 songs with his band Terror Garden on it.
11 p.m.
Yeah, we do interviews before the videos, and then we talk a little bit about the video. Gina Cotillo is on that, along with Craig Siegelbaum. We also have Rider, which is a video that I'm actually in, which I was offered to
Oh,
be in.
that's right.
Yep.
Our
And then we
friend
have,
James Ride, our friend James,
And then
the band
we
Ride.
have our other friend, DJ Perlin, and his band Rebel 9. So he's
I
on
didn't
that
know
with.
that.
Yeah, so those 4 bands are on the pilot. And then my plan is to expand this to go on to not only heavy metal and rock music, but also acoustic acts,
And rap.
cover acts, tributes,
I want to see
and
you
all
rap.
different genres
Oh,
of
I
music
got
in the
rap.
same kind of
Sure
format.
you do.
So hopefully that will pan out.
I love it. I'm sorry, we were having a little sideline because now I want to hear Mr. Terror rap. But
Yo,
Oh,
yo,
now
yo,
you know.
shorty.
we're going to take one more break and we'll be right back.
I'm Dave Black,
And I'm Paul Terra.
and together we are Double Trouble Radio.
And we are here every Tuesday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. on iRadioUSA.com.
We've got deep cuts.
We have unsigned bands, we have killer tunes, and know what? We're going to let the music do the talking.
So tune in every Tuesday night from 8 to 10, iRadioUSA.com, Double Trouble Radio. Rock.
Dig it!
And we're back. And now we have your background. We sort of know what brought you two together. But tell us just we've sort of gone into it, but tell us a little more about Double Trouble, what you've got going on with it, and where people can find you, and anything else you want them to know.
Sure.
Well, like we said, we're on iRadioUSA.com every Tuesday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. And what we try to focus our show on is some deep cuts. I mean, everything is out there if you could find it. We had a guest in last week, Gail Flug. Gail came in with some off-the-wall obscure music. Ronnie James Dio from 1965.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
cool.
Kind of sounded like Bobby Darin. It had like that whole Frankie in the Valley,
Yeah,
you know,
he nailed
Frankie
it, too.
Valley and all that kind of feel. But we play some really obscure stuff. Music you may have heard of, and me, it's a kiss and a curse, but I have all this useless rock and roll knowledge. It's funny because sometimes I'll be sitting home and people call me up and be like, Paul, what album was this song on? And what band did this? I'm like, oh yeah, this is blah, blah, blah. How do you know this?
Yeah,
It's
but don't sell
it's-
yourself short. I mean, he has some serious knowledge, like stuff I never heard of,
Wow.
and he's spot on. And just like he said before, with the other artists that he's interacted with and been on stage with, you know, how many times you sit next to somebody that's been on stage with Ronnie Wood? You know, how many times you sit next to somebody that did a binge with Axl Rose? You know, things like that.
Oh.
And
Weekend
those stories,
binge.
Oh,
those stories are
weekend
pretty
binge.
interesting. So, and I
Weekend
think
binge
what's
with
really
Axl.
cool is that we never really knew each other all that well until we kind of like got. Well, we did the benefit. I did the benefit
Right.
for him, and then that's when we really kind of collaborated the most. But my musical tastes are really different than his.
Oh
And-
yeah.
and that comes out in the music. You know,
It's-
it's a lot of differences that work well together.
What we do is we split the show in half.
Right.
And it's usually anywhere between 25 to 30 songs per show. So Dave will do half and I'll do half, and I'll bring in my music and he'll bring in his music. And then when we load it in to do the show, we'll look at each other's music like, who are they? Who is that?
Yeah. So,
Brain Dead Brian and the Test Tube Babies? Who the hell is this?
but then every once in a while, we'll have like the exact same song in
I
mind.
know,
And what's really
well-
cool is we do it separately, right? So he does it at his house on his computer,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times we'll take the songs off of YouTube, we convert it to an MP3,
Right.
we put it in a flash drive, and then we
and
put
then
it
bring them
we
here.
put them here in the studio,
Right.
and then we're able to work the music from there. And every once in a while, we get the exact same song. What's really interesting is we do a tremendous amount of unsigned bands.
Yes.
We get music from all over the world.
all over the world.
And the only way to get that on a show, to have it make sense with our show, is to listen to it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because how would you know if it's any good or not? And a lot of times we'll get stuff from wherever, England, South Africa, Italy, Germany, wherever, and the same song will interest both of us to the point where we'll both say, hey, this song is fucking incredible. And
Exactly.
we come
Why
back
aren't
in,
these guys signed?
exactly. We come into the studio and we notice it's on both our flash drives.
Right.
So that's when we kind of know that, hey, this band should have been signed. They're going to go somewhere. Check this out. We want everybody to check it out.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We share it with everybody.
We put the word out there that we're playing unsigned bands, and however or whoever, we have like management companies. They send us their stuff. Individual bands, which is the best, they send us their stuff. Self promotion, all these agencies. I get IMP Music. I get this. Every week I have people sending me all different types of music.
That's great.
But we got to sit through it. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm not talking about the music itself. It could be the recording sometimes. Went to a crappy recording studio. The quality's no good. Or it could be a great song, but it was recorded really badly and the quality's no good. Or it could be a crappy song that was recorded really good. I guess, we play what we kind of think is music. And to me, being a vocalist, the whole kill your mother.
The Cookie
can't-
Monster
I
stuff.
can't
we
do it.
stay
I'm
away from the
sorry.
Cookie
I can't.
Monster stuff.
Hey, everybody has their own opinion.
Yeah, not
and
that it's
good.
bad stuff. It's just not
Just
something we
some
play
people
It's
on.
love
not
it.
what
Yeah,
we
yeah,
do.
yeah.
It's not what we do.
So what's really interesting in Europe, and I wasn't aware of this until we started doing the show, is they have people who they call themselves presenters. So a presenter will be a person who maybe takes half a dozen bands and he presents their music to all different internet radio shows, because internet radio shows are huge overseas. Huge overseas.
Podcast,
Incredible, incredible. And that's how these bands get around. And a lot of these bands find their way onto different festivals in Europe, because in Europe it's all about the festival.
Mhm.
It's a
Oh, yeah.
2-3 day festival. It may have 40 bands on the roster, and that's how people in Europe follow music. The music scene in Europe is totally different than it is
Totally
here.
different.
Totally different.
Here, no offense, it's everybody singing to click tracks. There's really no musicians involved. It's back in music with people rapping to it. In England, the music that we present on our show is more popular there. Here, it's funny because people come up to me, oh, did you hear that new song by Petty Wap and this and that? And I'm like, who the hell is this? It's not my world, that kind of music. And I'm sure some of it's good. It's just not attainable to us. It's not in our world. We don't listen to that type of music, so we really don't know much about it. But if it comes to rock and roll, I'll sit here and talk your ear off for hours.
And we find the best of the local, and we put them on.
Oh yeah, there's some really great. See, the whole thing is these days, even now, like what I'm experiencing at the moment. My band Terra Garden, we're looking for a guitar player. It's been like 2 or 3 months, and
Yeah.
what it comes down to is everybody wants to play cover music. Everybody wants to get paid. They want to make that big $100 a man, whereas with original music, you get paid by the door, so you don't know what you're getting. But when you're into doing original music, it's not for the money, it's for the love. If you're gonna play cover music, that's for the money.
I thought everybody wanted to do original music.
No, everybody wants to get paid these days. I'm too old to be doing this original crap. I want to do my Roadhouse Blues. I want to do my Dancing Queen, and I want to get my $100 a man. Now, if you're playing with an original band, you're getting paid by the door.
So you could get 20 or
You
I'm
could
being-
get,
I'm-
you
or
could get
$500,
$20
depending on the venue.
depending on the crowd.
Yeah.
These days,
It also depends on the promotion too. You know,
well, these
Yeah.
like
days,
not every band are that good at promoting themselves.
Sure.
no.
I found that out with working for Revolution. That there's some bands that
Oh my
you'll
Lord.
say, hey, look, this is the gig. You got 2 months to promote it. here's what what we
Try
like
to
to
get
see.
as many people
Yeah.
down.
Right.
So and some people
They don't promote.
they'll bring in 15 people. Other people they'll bring in 100 people.
Yeah.
Other people will bring in 3. Other
Yeah.
people won't even put a post on Facebook.
I know.
They get nobody.
And
They just
get
expect
nobody.
people to show up. Which
And they expect to
doesn't
get paid.
happen. It doesn't happen.
But look, the place is packed, yeah, but not with any of your people because you didn't take the time to promote it.
Right.
It is packed. The other band went crazy. They made flyers. They did this. They brought in 100 people. How many people are in the club? 101 people. Well, they brought 100. You brought 1.
Here's your
Why?
$10.
Because you didn't promote it.
That's it. That's how it
It's-
is. That's how it goes.
Unfortunately, even with a lot of these bands, it's about how many people you bring in the bar, not how good you are.
True.
You could be one of the suckiest bands, and I've seen it many times. I've seen it just the other day. You could be one of the suckiest bands, but you have your little core following, so you're playing. You could be a phenomenal band, but you don't have that draw. It has nothing to do with talent these days. It's like a popularity contest, unfortunately. So, hoping once the pandemic breaks and things go back to normal, because people are very desperate for live music right now.
People are very desperate for live
desperate
music.
for live music, and
Hopefully
they're
we
all
don't get
coming
shot.
out of the woodwork.
We all get
so-
shot, and it all goes back to normal real soon.
Yep.
So, well, hoping for normalcy. Well, not in this room right now.
No.
But
Nah, that's never. That'll never happen. I don't care how much
So-
you get shot.
now, if people want to find you, where do they go?
Yeah, so I mean, I promote everything on my personal Facebook page. We promote it on our Double Trouble page. After the show is done, it gets archived and it goes onto Spotify. So we have a Spotify playlist that has not only our shows, but also has a lot of the unsigned artists that we put on every week.
Great.
We've gone on
And
now,
our sponsors.
and our sponsors. Yeah, we've gone on to at this point 22 shows coming up on Tuesday. We've promoted well over 100 unsigned artists.
All over the world.
Yeah.
In fact, this week I got a band from Japan that I'm really excited on playing. I have another one from the Netherlands, and I have another one from our backyard here in Connecticut.
Well,
Yeah, and what's really cool is the show is late here that we play it, so we go on from 8 to 10. So in England, I know that the show really comes out like midnight. So
Right.
what's been great with the Spotify thing is that people can have it on demand. What's really good for our sponsors is that our commercials are never edited out of the Spotify. So our commercials are on demand as well. And we do extremely inexpensive spots. And we
And
not
our
only do the
sponsors
spots
are
here,
very happy
yeah.
too.
We
I
not
have
only
to say
do
they are.
our
sure.
sponsors here, but we do our social media promotions for them.
Right.
We interact with them.
right.
I call them every week to see if there's new ideas or whatever they want us to say when we're on the air. So we have that nice kind of a grassroots feel with our sponsorships. And we could always use a few more sponsors, but we don't want to get too many because the music is really number one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't want to be a regular radio show that has a playlist that
Next thing
matches
you know, we'll be
demographics.
playing Billy Joel and
Yeah,
shit.
You're not
That's
a
not happening.
regular radio show, and
Sorry,
you never will
Billy.
be.
No,
I
we're a
can't.
podcast. Yes.
So that's what that's all about. And going down the road and in the future, hopefully, with the help of God, venues open back up. I'll get my promotion thing back on track and going.
And I'll be rocking the stage again.
Yes, you
Exactly.
will.
And,
Yes, you will.
And until then, we're gonna do what we do, and hopefully people are enjoying it and they're digging it, and the right bands are getting promoted and they're getting a little exposure, which is what it's all about. Which is really what we both are all about with the show. That's our primary focus, and that's pretty much where we're going, right?
Yeah. And we love you long time.
You do. You do. You keep your promises with that.
Mm.
Well, I want to say thank you, Dave Black.
Very
Thank you,
welcome.
Paul Terror. Check them out. Double Trouble.
iRadioUSA.com.
I love you, Mom.
Peace.